What is your American dream?
My American dream is for everyone to just be equal, like no matter your skin color, gender, sexuality. Yeah, I just want everyone to be equal so that everybody can be happy and there's no violence.
My American dream was just to be able to attend school and professionally and, being recognized as a chef.
Fighting for other people, since I know that I'm very privileged in being a white woman in the United States. It sucks. I do have that power in the States, which shouldn't be possible, but it is. So I really want to just do my part today at least and just stand up for other people that aren't like me.
Peace, love, and happiness worldwide.
I just want to live in an America where me and my two cousins can be safe and don't have to get judged by the color of our skin.
My American dream would be that everyone gets treated the same, no matter what their race, culture, creed, or sexual orientation. Everyone gets treated the same. By the police officers, by the politicians, by every citizen. Everyone gets treated the same.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
Oh, gee, what the heck is this? They weren't kidding when they said they needed me back in the office pronto. What is up with all of this? Ooh, oh, I bet I'm gonna be working a lot this weekend. Oh! Hello, everybody! I'm back from the Hamptons. Brad made me burrow back to New York City early because they needed me in the office. Clearly, as you can see, there's lots of flyers to be handed out. That's another one of Groundhog Sam's jobs. Did you miss yesterday's episode of Brad Show Live? Well, if you did, you missed the most epic event ever. Brad is a man of his word, and as we all know, if Brad says he's gonna do something, he's gonna do it. He played Truth or Dare with the viewers, he took the dare, and he got his twerk on. Jeez Louise! Oh my goodness! It was epic. I was his coach. Twerk, 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 twerk your booty. We also had Renee Colado-Lainez on. He is an award-winning children's book author. He comes from El Salvador. He himself crossed the border with his father at the young age of 14 years old. He is now an American citizen. He teaches children, and he writes books about children who are immigrants and have families with immigration issues that they are trying to overcome. He's truly incredible. I highly recommend reading some of his books. You can find him in local bookstores, libraries, Amazon, etc. And we also met Tracy Reed. Tracy is a client of Rebecca Linetsky's here at the firm. With Rebecca's help, Tracy just got her green card, and she talked to all of us about her immigration journey and how having her green card has now helped her incredibly, not only in her regular life, but also as a business owner, and her shop looks amazing. Groundhog Sam's gonna go. Yep. It's just down in Brooklyn. Anyway, what's on today's show? Well, you never know with Brad. You'll just have to watch and see. Have a great weekend. Woohoo!
All right, everybody, welcome. It is Brad Bernstein, straight from the Hamptons. And I believe we're going to be joined by Belgium Kim in the studio. Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias taking another day off. But he'll be back on Monday for sure. Belgium Kim, how are you? What's happening in New York City?
I'm doing well. I'm a little bit jealous of all these people on vacation, even though I realize that's not fair because I just got back from vacation. But I'm a little jealous, Brad.
Yes, nobody is crying for you. I think you were just in Belgium for the last 9 days, living it up. And as a matter of fact, I understand all your Belgian chocolate is now gone.
Yeah, there is no more. And I brought extras just because I knew that there would be stragglers who are like, why didn't you bring me chocolate? Even the extras are gone.
All gone.
We're out.
So now all you have now today is you look at your pictures from your vacation. Remember, you were just on vacation 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
Nobody's feeling bad for you. And what about me? I'm on working vacation. I'm on vacation and still work, right?
That's fair, but you were still chillaxed by the beach of the Hamptons today, weren't you, Brad?
I am chillaxing, but still working at the same time.
That's true.
And hello, Bert Fullerton, Willie Williams, Asset Lindo. Happy Friday to you. Did Asset get her movie tickets?
Asset and Cece both got their movie tickets today.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Woo-hoo!
Congratulations. And by the way, thank you very much, Groundhog Sam. I was hoping I would never have to see myself twerk again. And of course, 24 hours later, Groundhog Sam had to actually put it introduction. So thank you very much, Sam. I appreciate that.
He says you're welcome.
So Reginald Amata, how are you? Tamika Nelson, Beverly Thompson, Marsha Whitaker, Carol Anderson, the Tiger, says hi, Brad, Kim, Yo-Yo, Sam, Dionne Watson, who else? Marsha Whitaker, Cece Mitchell, Reginald Amata, Christy Consali, Beverly Thompson, Belgium Kim, popping in there as well.
Yes,
there you
are.
And Hodge. Who else? Who else is saying hello here?
We've got Tanette Douglas Robinson.
Not used to Douglas yet. I'm used to Willery. I swung a Willery. I got to get used to Douglas. Who else we got saying hello to us today? Jeff Bosey wants to know, what is your Colombian dream? Why is he asking me about my Colombian dream? Meanwhile, Jeff Bosey talking about a dedicated Brad squad. Belgium Kim sent me a text message today, which was a screenshot of Jeff Bosey's Facebook page and the screen and his what do you call it?
Cover photo.
Background.
Yeah.
Photo is me twerking. So somebody enjoyed it very, very much.
Listen,
right?
He sent me both screenshots and he goes, "Would you guys get mad at me if one of these were my cover photo?" And I was like, "Go for it, man."
Something. After I saw that, I'm like, there's something wrong with this entire Brad squad. He put pictures of me twerking up as his oh my God.
He did this side by side.
I'm sorry?
He did this side by side with Nicki Minaj, so there's some Nicki Minaj in there too.
Malia Loban Martin, how are you? Who else? Who else we have here who we haven't said hello to?
Lynn Brown.
I'm sorry?
Lynn Brown.
Lynn Brown?
Yeah.
Lynn Brown. She new?
You know what? I think Lynn Brown might be new, and so is Claudette Prince.
Names. Everybody say hello to Lynn Brown and welcome her to the Brad Squad. Jella Shauna, how are you? Radhika Pendergrass, and who else we got here? I think everybody else is. Oh, Michelle Castell. Michelle, my belle. You know that song? Michelle. She's already popping in right with a question. She doesn't even want to say hello. She's going in right with her questions. And everybody else is basically saying hello to each other. So, Belgium Kim, let's get right into our schmooze. And by the way, before we get into our schmooze, we do have to remind everybody about something we like to call sharing, which, you know what, everybody in the world also calls sharing. I don't know why we had to put it in. I'm thinking maybe if I do this, that maybe it would get people's attention. But we want to share. Yesterday, our shares were way down.
Abysmal.
But they were able to get to 538 shares to get me to play Truth or Dare, which ended up with me twerking. Okay? Yesterday, we couldn't even get to 138 shares. Now, Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, a little earlier in the week, had suggested that the other dare was for me, because you see here, my top of my head, okay? Other dare was for me to wear a toupee. I don't know who in the Brad squad had suggested that I wear a toupee. I don't recall who it is, but it was toupee or Truth or Dare. And I said, you know what, I'd rather play Truth or Dare. Not thinking that I would end up having to twerk. So now Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, he says, well, Brad, if they get to like 700 shares, because they were able to get to 538 shares with like 30. It was pretty fast.
It was quick.
With like 30 minutes to go.
Yeah.
There was like still 30 minutes left in our show, and they already got to 538 shares. So Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, he says, you know what, let's do 700 shares, and Brad, you'll wear a toupee. And I said, you know what, I'll even do one better. I said, we're going to bring in like I'm going to be like, go like total Miss Doubtfire. Now, I'm not going to be like an old lady, but we'll let the Brad squad pick, you know, and I'll go like completely different than who I am. You know, I know Jeff Bosey said I should just wear troll hair. You know, other people said I should turn into like a Rasta dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll come up with something, okay, with the help of the Brad squad, but they have to be able to share. The contest is going to end Monday. If they don't do it by Monday, then that's off the table.
Oh, wow. You're just taking it off?
It's not going to be like every day I'm going to tell people, to go do it, so it's off the table as of Monday.
Wow.
And the poor guy who works in the movies who's waiting to get the call, he's not going to have a job with us, unfortunately. But if you get to 700 shares, I will go full toupee if that's what everybody wants. I'll go afro. I'll go reggae dude.
Yes.
I'll go surfing dude.
Yes.
Troll guy. I'll go, whatever you guys want me. We're gonna get a whole custom thing going here, and maybe for 750 shares, Belgium Kim will join me and be different. Or maybe Belgium Kim will go as Brad.
Oh.
That would be quite funny, right?
That would be fantastic.
Everybody different. Like Yo-Yo will end up being Belgium. We'll get like the makeup person to do Yo-Yo as Belgium Kim.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go as somebody that Brad's squad wants me to be. And Belgium Kim will go as Brad. And we'll get like a whole makeup thing here, but like a movie makeup thing, not like as I said, we're not going to Ricky's Halloween, 19 store. We're going like this is real stuff. So Belgium Kim.
Yeah.
If you think anybody's interested in watching this, you got to be able to share it to their friends and family. Please tell them how to share before we get into our schmoozing.
You guys, I know I'm not the only one who wants to see this, so hit that share.
It's not 700 over 2 days. It's 700 either today or Monday.
Right.
I'm correcting Rod J. Roberts, who's saying 700. 700 over 2 days. That's doable.
That's too easy.
Gotta do something that's not too easy.
This is a good prize. They got to work for it. So, to get there, you hit that share button. At the bottom of your screen, you will see share. It will have a little arrow next to it. You can share it on your own timeline. You need to share it on your friend's timeline. You need to share it on your cousin's best friend's elementary school teacher timeline. I want it on everyone. You can invite people to see the show. You can tag people in the comments. There's tons of ways to share for you to get to 700. And trust me, Brad Squad, I need to see this. So if you guys don't want to see this, which I don't believe in any stretch of the imagination, I know you guys want to see this. Do it for me.
It's very simple, Belgium Kim. You take out your finger.
Yeah.
You go. It's very simple, okay? Even I'm doing it, who's like somewhat, technically, I am going to share it.
Yeah.
I just shared it.
Who'd you share it to, Dad?
I just shared it twice. I just shared it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16,
oh my
17,
God, you guys, look at
18,
this.
19. I just shared it 20 times, Belgium Kim.
That
20
fast?
times. So the first 20 shares is on me. The next 680 have to go. The next 680 have to go to the entire Brad squad.
Now,
that's clear.
And I'm seeing Rod J. Roberts say, let's be honest here, 700 shares, probability is low.
I just did 20 in 6 seconds.
Exactly.
So everybody, oh, and by the way, I did it while I'm hosting a live Facebook show.
Right.
So, nobody has an excuse. I'm already doing it and talking, and I'm doing 100. People are like, oh, I'm doing something else. Well, you know what? I'm doing something else too. You know what I'm doing? I'm hosting a show, and I was able to do it. So if you're like in the kitchen cooking, you can do it.
Yes.
If you're driving, you can do it at a red light. Don't do it. Okay? But certainly everybody should be able to share. I just did it 20 times. It was very simple. You just literally go right below the video, and you take a finger and you just say, oh, I'm going to share it to my friend. I'm going to share it to this group.
Exactly.
I'm going to share it to my timeline. I just shared it to 20 different people.
Exactly. And look how easy that was.
It was very simple.
And look how quickly we got up to 75 shares.
Correct. Okay, 20 of which are mine.
89 shares. I just refreshed it. We're at 89 shares right now, Brad.
Which are mine. So any event, let's get into something that we call schmoozing, Belgium Kim. We have a lot of schmoozing here, and it's actually a lot of serious things about immigration, so it's important that people listen.
Absolutely.
Okay? The most important thing that happened, actually, there's some good news for immigrants. Okay? A Supreme Court decision just came out. Decision just came out called Pereira versus Sessions. And what it says is, now when you get put in deportation, let me take you a step back.
Yeah.
When you get put in deportation or removal, government hands you what's called a notice to appear.
Okay.
And in the notice to appear, it lays out why they want to put you in deportation. It says, this is your name. Your name is Belgium Kim.
Yes.
You have arrived from Belgium.
Yes.
You're not a citizen of the United States.
Correct.
You have stolen chocolate from all over the world and tried to import chocolate into the United States illegally. So therefore, I'm making this up. Obviously, Belgium Kim is now a citizen. Okay. And therefore, we find you deportable. It lays out the reasons why you're going to be deported.
Right.
And then underneath, it says, this is the date, and this is the time, and this is the place where you have to show up for your deportation hearing. That's how a notice to appear works.
Okay.
Okay.
Seems logical.
Now, logical so far.
Yeah.
Now, the immigration officers generally, when they're handing you the paper, they're not the ones who schedule the deportation hearing. It's scheduled by somebody else.
Okay.
Many times, not all the time, but many times, when somebody's handed a notice to appear, it lays out you're Belgium Kim, you're from Belgium, you tried to import chocolate illegally, you are a chocolate, illegal smuggler of chocolates,
right? And
therefore that's a crime of moral turpitude to try to make people happy with chocolate, and we're now going to try to deport you.
Okay.
And then it says on the bottom, your date and place of deportation it says TBD, to be determined. And then they will mail you a letter 2 or 3 weeks later when the scheduler looks at the schedule to put you in deportation. Now, what the law has said in the past is as long as there's proof that you received that letter and you knew where and when to show up, then that's proper service under the statute and under the Constitution of the United States, and it's proper procedure, and you have to show up. Now, the Supreme Court, in an 8-1 decision yesterday, in a decision called, and it was totally unexpected, certainly by me. If you ever asked me, would the Supreme Court ever come in favor of immigrants 8-1 in this day and age? And I said, never in a million years. But in an 8-1 decision, they said if this was their narrow holding, okay? The only person who was against it was Alito. Which guy is there as Alito? I'm not sure. That's Alito. That's the guy who was against it. Everybody else was in favor.
Wow.
All right, so that's anti-immigrant Supreme Court justice apparently. So what they said
yeah,
it was a narrow holding, but now it's going to be broadened by lawyers like myself, judges, and everybody else. But what they said is this, because it's very technical. Now, what it says is, it is not. They said, when you're in deportation and you're charged with a crime of moral turpitude,
yeah,
okay, your stop time rule. There's a stop time rule. The stop time rule says that when you're, I hope those are not the cops coming for you for the chocolate.
They are 100% coming. You've tipped them off, Brad.
Exactly. So there is a stop time rule, and the stop time rule says is that if you've been in the United States for less than 5 years and you get served with a notice to appear, then that stops your time in America. So if you, for example, if you're being charged as being deportable for crimes of moral turpitude, and 2 crimes of moral turpitude, for example, okay, and this would be an example of how this would come into play. If you get 1 crime of moral turpitude, which is a petty offense before your 5-year anniversary, and a 2nd crime of moral turpitude, you get put in deportation, then a 2nd crime of moral turpitude after your 5-year anniversary of living in the United States, then your stop time rule stops the time they put you in deportation. So you would not be able to apply for any sort of cancellation of removal or any sort of waivers.
Wow, okay.
So what the Supreme Court said, now I just gave you an example of how that may work.
Yeah.
Okay? Supreme Court said is that if you are served with a notice to appear, and on that notice to appear, it does not say the time and date in which you're supposed to show up to court and the place where you're supposed to show up to court,
right,
it is not a properly issued notice to appear, and therefore the stop time rule does not apply. So now now lawyers have already and judges have already, even today, this is just recent, just within a day or two.
Yeah.
Okay, have now been saying for people who are in deportation who got an original notice to appear, who did not have a date and time to appear, got it at a later date, was mailed. That's not a proper notice to appear, and they've been terminating some of these deportation proceedings. Now, you could even take it one step further. I don't even know, we'll see how it goes. Mm-hmm. But people who are deported, who haven't been physically removed from the United States, who on their initial notice to appear didn't have their date and time, that may have been an illegal notice to appear based on what the Supreme Court decision is, and maybe their home time needs to be reopened.
What?
And so, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to what will eventually happen with this case, but it certainly favors lots and lots of immigrants who are in deportation because the Immigration Service was never following the rules in the Constitution.
Right, and it's going to end up having huge implications on past and present cases.
That's right.
What about people who have already been deported? Is there any chance that I was unlawfully deported because I never got?
Once you physically leave the United States, unfortunately, the Constitution doesn't apply anymore. It's very difficult to bring you back. Not to say you can't, but it would be very difficult to bring you back to the United States once you're deported, saying my deportation was illegal. Not to say I haven't done it before, but it becomes extraordinarily difficult.
Gotcha.
Okay, it is so much easier if you're still physically here. Now, here is the facts in this Pereira case. Pereira originally came to the United States. It was Pereira versus Sessions. Okay. Pereira originally came to the United States in 2000. He overstayed his visa. And after he overstayed his visa, he was issued a notice to appear, but it never gave him the exact time and date in which to show up.
Right.
Department of Homeland Security later sent him a date and time, but it was received by Pereira, and he never showed up. So he was ordered deported in absentia. He was later arrested in March of 2013 for a driving violation, and then Department of Homeland Security attempted to remove him. He didn't have now, in this particular case, for Pereira, he was out of status here illegally. Now, what the law says is if you're here out of status illegally and you're put in deportation more than 10 years after you're here illegally, and you're put in deportation after you're here illegally, you're allowed what's called cancellation removal. If you're put in deportation before 10 years, you're not.
Got it.
The stop time rule says once you're put in deportation, even if you're here 9 years, 11 months, 15 days, you're put in deportation. You didn't reach 10 years, even though your deportation hearing is more than 10 years later. Yeah. So what he was saying was, well, it was an illegal notice to appear. I didn't know when and where to show up. It didn't tell me. And now the Supreme Court, it favored him.
Wow.
Every person who has a notice to appear, I know it's very technical, but really what everyone has to come down, what everyone has to understand is that if you have a notice, if you've been put in deportation, you should have your attorney look to see if they gave you on your initial notice to appear a date and time to show up. If not, you should have your attorney making a motion to terminate your deportation immediately.
Wow.
If you have been deported and an attorney was to review your records, and in your records it was determined that there was no date and time on the notice to appear, not that they sent you a letter later. And this is not everybody, but I would say a good chunk of people.
Wow.
Okay? You would have the right to reopen your case because your rights were constitutionally violated by the Immigration Service.
Wow.
So that's what's happening. That's what's happening with the Supreme Court.
That's a crazy development.
Yeah, now at Trump City down in Texas.
Yes.
Okay, they're calling it Trump City now.
Right.
Okay, the 10th city is building for the
new Trump Towers.
New Trump Towers, right. There's litigation now. There's litigation now over something called the 1997 Flores Agreement. Now, the 1997 Flores Agreement says that children can't be detained more than 20 days, even with their families, and Trump is doing that. Okay. So now there are states, besides the fact that he has said, okay, the children and families are going to get together, be back together, and quite frankly, in reality, nobody knows how to get these children and families back together. They've been separated, and nobody knows whose mother belongs with what child, what father belongs with what child. Nobody knows this. There was no records taken. Children, they're saying a lot of some parents are in jail. Some parents were deported. Nobody knows how to reach these parents. It is such a disaster right now that even if the government wants to get these kids back together with their parents, a lot of them will never, ever, ever. Here's the children right here. Will never, ever, ever get back together with their parents because the government doesn't know where the parents are and who the parents are. So that's a disaster in of itself. And, we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
More than a dozen mayors yesterday tried to go and visit the children. The government wouldn't let them in, including the mayor of New York and the mayor of L.A. Just wouldn't let them in. Wouldn't let them in to see what's going on. That's it's an absolute tragedy. The group was denied access to the Tornillo facility prior to Trump's press conference yesterday. Once the press conference wrapped up, Mayor de Blasio of New York plus 12 other mayors tried to walk over to the large gate to the 10-city compound and asked to be let in. Surrounded by cameras and reporters, he asked one of the Department of Homeland Security agents who approached the gate, "Is there someone, sir, or is it you or someone else to talk to about an opportunity to see what's going on inside?" And the agent responded, "Sorry, everybody is unavailable." Other mayors tried to go in and got the same answer. Mayor Eric Garcetti of Los Angeles told Vice News that about 100 unaccompanied minors have been shipped to the Los Angeles area and put in foster care without prior notification from the federal government.
Oh my God.
So now the states are suing the federal government because now it's the same. States always sue the federal government over the same thing. They gave you an unfunded mandate.
Right.
So that's how Texas beat the DACA case.
Right.
When with driver's licenses, all of a sudden Texas said now all these DACA recipients and then DAPA, Deferred Action for Parent Arrivals, we have to now make driver's licenses for them. We have to hire more people in motor vehicles, and as a result of that, we can't. We have to spend money, and the federal government's not giving it to us. It's the same lawsuit here.
Okay.
Federal government is detaining minors, children at the border, shipping them off to the states and telling the states to go take care of them. So that's where the lawsuit is there.
So unfunded mandate basically means the government is telling you to do something, but the federal government is telling, but they're not giving you money.
Do something, not giving you money to do it. Exactly.
Got it.
Right.
Wow.
And as I see here in my notes, children are just not. The reunions are just not getting together. The parents and the children. There was one video of a Guatemalan mother being reunited with her son at BWI Airport in Baltimore. That went viral. The video shows the pair reunited at the airport for the first time since they were separated a month ago. I don't know if we have that video, Jill. Do we have that video? So that was one, but there's thousands of children who haven't been reunited yet. Parents detained at the border are reporting difficulty locating or contacting their children from whom they've been separated. Caregivers for children say they're unable to locate the parents whose voices, even at a long distance, could ease their children's trauma. Some parents have already been deported, as I said. It's an absolute disaster what's going on there.
Absolutely.
And then Donald Trump holds a press conference with families of people killed by undocumented immigrants. He's calling these people angel families. He's made up a new name for them. And of course, nobody's in favor of families being killed or immigrants killing families. Nobody's saying that. Trump said these are American citizens permanently separated from their loved ones. The word permanently being the one you have to think about. They're not separated for a day or 2 days. They're permanently separated. However, Trump is suggesting, this is the problem.
Right.
Trump is suggesting that the illegal immigrant population is more dangerous than U.S. citizens, when in fact a conservative policy group, a group that favors Trump, called the Cato Institute, said that it is 85% more likely to be the victim of a crime by a U.S. citizen than it is to be a victim of a crime by an illegal alien.
85% from a conservative group.
A conservative group said that.
It's just
right. Melania
can you still do that?
Melania Trump, who makes parents taking care of their children her priority,
Right.
and that's what she is her thing. That's her thing that she's about.
Right.
She went to see the children who Donald Trump said should not be taken care of by their families. It's separated.
Right.
She wore this jacket. It's gone viral. Everybody's seen it. I really don't care. Do you? Written on the back of her jacket. Nobody really knew what that meant. Donald Trump says she was talking about the fake news. I don't know how he got fake news into I really don't care. Do you? Maybe that's what Donald Trump said to Melania. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think Melania said to Donald Trump, "Why are you doing this to the children?" He says, "I don't really care. Do you?" That's what I think.
That is probably far more accurate.
Right? That's what I mean. Now, one artist who saw the jacket felt the need to reimagine the First Lady's look on another lady, which is Lady Liberty.
Ooh.
He posted an illustration on Instagram, and the image, the icon of the Statue of Liberty, is rocking with a similar jacket with the words, "We should all care," and holding a child's hand. Do we have that picture?
Oh, wow.
We have that picture? Maybe not? No, we don't. So in the first 2 hours, it was like 3,000 times. We don't have that picture. Trust me, go look for it. It's really cool. I'm not sure what the hashtag is, Kim, if you can find that out and let people know.
Absolutely.
And that's really what's going on the immigration front. We have some funny stuff, but you know what? There's so much going on in immigration. We had to really spend our time with immigration today.
Yeah.
Maybe later on, if we have time, we'll get into our funny news. Monday we'll do some funny news unless the world's coming to an end. What do you think?
Which it always feels like the world is coming into an end, but
It always feel like the world is coming to an end sometimes. All right, so let's do this. We started a little late. We got to get to our immigration questions.
Absolutely.
We got to rev up the lines. Before we rev up the lines, we're going to be answering your immigration questions right now. 1-800-529-5465. Can we get a count on where we are with our shares?
Let's see here. The last I saw, we were going up, and we were going up fast, Brad.
Yes.
So right now, we're less than 45 minutes into our show right now, and we're at 176 shares, Brad. They just may do it today.
I don't think they're going to do
You
it
don't
because they got
think
to
so?
get. They got 500 more to go. How are they going to do that? 20.
With faith,
20
Brad,
were me.
listen.
20 were me.
You grab
20
your
were
phone.
me.
Boom, 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 boom.
You know what I'm going to do? While you're talking, I'm going to share more.
Look at that.
Okay.
Look at that. And look, it's so easy to share. Brad's doing it right now. All he has to do.
I'm sharing more.
And
I
all
just
Brad is
shared-
doing is clicking that share button. And he
I
keeps
just-
clicking it to all of his
Yeah.
friends.
I just shared to 10 more groups just as we were
Boom.
talking right there. It's so easy. So everybody, please share with your friends and family. Let's get to 700 shares today. And really, we're not only doing it for ourselves and to make a fun game to do it, but we also want to help as many people as we can. And we can't help as many people as we can unless people know about this show. I mean, we spend our time every day, 2 hours. Yes, we like to have fun with you. Yes, we want to entertain you. Yes, we want to laugh with you. But ultimately, we want to help as many people as we can. And we can't help as many people as we can unless you help us and pass the word on and share the word on to as many people as you can. And that's why we really want you to share. And we'll make it fun. And if we do get 700, we'll do something silly. And I'll embarrass myself. And Belgium Kim will embarrass herself.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll even get Yo-Yo to embarrass himself. So we will embarrass ourselves just so
Yeah.
we can help as many people as we can.
We will check our shame at the door for shares.
That is correct.
It's shame for shares.
But right now we're going to be answering your immigration questions in the section that we called Answering Your Questions If You Got Them. Getting answers, call with your immigration questions. One day I'll remember exactly what that card said. It may take me like 3 years. Getting answers, we got your immigration questions. Our first question is going to Liz. Liz, how are you?
Hi, Brad. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Okay. I want to
Leah,
ask
my
a question.
apologies.
Yes,
Leah,
that's
my
okay.
apologies. Yeah.
That's
okay. You know what?
okay.
And by the way, for everybody, and this is also for you as well, Leah, I have trouble seeing very, very small print. So when I'm doing it remotely,
when I'm looking at the print, it is very, very small. I mean, you gotta have like, like superhuman Superman eyes to see the picture. So,
Yes,
so if I
I
get your name wrong,
understand.
because I have trouble seeing the name. But Leah, what's going on?
Yes, I have a friend who is married to a U.S. citizen, and
Yes.
the person did their filing in January, then the biometrics in February, and after that, nothing. What do you think is going on?
Well, in he still hasn't. I think March,
No,
April, May,
they
June. If
haven't
he
they
didn't
haven't received
get his
any
work permit,
right, no.
well, either they are totally backed up, but he should be getting it by now. So if it's been 5 months, or did he get a letter from the government saying they were missing documents?
No, no.
That there was anything wrong
No,
with his
and
case?
everything was done in January, and then the biometrics was done in February.
Well, it should take about 4 months to get the work permit. We're now already in June, almost into July. I don't know
Right.
the answer. What I would suggest, if they want, is did they make copies of what they submitted to the government?
I think they did, yes.
Okay. So then make an appointment to come see me. Bring in the copies of what they submitted to the government. My first inclination is they filled out the forms wrong or did something wrong because they should have got it already. So let's
Okay.
make sure, let's rule that out that they screwed up somehow. Okay.
Yes, I
And then
understand.
once you rule out that they screwed up, then I could say, okay, they didn't screw up. They did everything perfectly. And then I could start, doing my thing with the government to get them their work permit.
Okay, I understand. Thank you very much.
All right. Hold on 1 second. Okay.
Okay.
So the telephone number when our lines are open right now, it's 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. I do have to remind everybody that in about 20 minutes or so, we will be answering your questions that you leave on our Twitter feed at Bradshaw, it's not .com, at Bradshaw Live. And we will also be answering your questions that you leave on our Facebook page at Bradshaw Live. Also, please follow us on Instagram at, shockingly, Bradshaw Live. And you'll get to see all sorts of behind-the-scenes stuff as we go on in the weeks and weeks ahead. But we will be taking your questions first on Twitter, on our Twitter feed. Belgium Kim is talking to people, hopefully right now, on Twitter at Bradshaw Live. We'll also be taking your questions that you leave and drop for us on our Facebook page at Bradshaw Live. We're going to be answering those questions in live time in about 20 minutes. Right now, we're taking your calls. The telephone number to call is 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465. And by the way, that is also the telephone number to my law office, Spar and Bernstein. So if you call, not only would you be calling to get on our show, but you could also call to make an appointment to come see us. All right, so we're going to go to Kalisa in Staten Island. I believe it's Kalisa. Kalisa? Carissa. How are you? How are you? Kalissa.
Yeah.
Good. What's going on?
Hi. I recently saw something on your page about a young man who was basically grandfathered in. I have a question on how that works. Let's just say my grandmother, who came here, then filed for my mother, which was approved, all before the year 2000. Can my mother then file for me?
Yes. And your mother can file for you whether you're grandfathered or not. What the law is at the end of the case, when did you come to the United States?
40 years ago, 41 years ago?
When did you come to the United States?
41 years ago.
49 years ago?
41.
I'm sorry? You're breaking up. What year?
41 years ago.
41 years ago. And you don't have a green card? You never got it through the amnesty or anything?
No, I was brought here at 3 years old by.
Oh my! And you
my
never
family.
did anything. Wow. All right. So, and your
I never
mom,
knew if it was possible.
Your mom is legal?
Yes. My grandmother came first, and then she filed for my mom, who has been here, I believe, since 97, along with my younger brother and sister.
Okay. And your mom came in the 90s, I assume. Grandma filed.
Yes.
Yes, you are grandfathered in. Your mom has to refile for you now, but at the end of the case, you would be able to pay a penalty fee and get your green card here. You should do that immediately.
Okay.
I mean,
and
41 years, you got to be doing it.
Yeah, it was never an option, actually. I saw the article just
Yeah,
today,
yeah,
actually, about a young man who had the same situation.
Right. We can totally help you. Hold on one second. You are grandfathered in. Hold on one second, okay?
Thank you.
All right, let's go to David in Accra, Ghana. David, all the way from Ghana. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, sir. How you doing?
Good. What's going on?
The other time I posted a comment in the group and you guys answered me, but I have another question because it's about maybe married to two American citizens. My first wife cheated on me and I divorced her. And while my divorce was in process, I met my new wife on Facebook. She came to visit me, all this stuff. So the issue is that people are saying that I'm going to get denied because I got married to two American citizens and it was too soon.
No, that's not true. As long as both marriages were real, legitimate marriages for love, you're allowed to fall in love, fall out of love, and fall back in love again. That's perfectly fine, and we could certainly help you. All right, as long as it's for love. All right. So hold on if you want to have
my first
marriage.
All right. My first wife didn't file a petition at all, so I don't understand. They said I'm going to get denied because
No. You're listening to you're listening to people who don't know what they're talking about. You're on the right track. You're allowed to fall in love, fall out of love, fall back in love. It's fine. Hold on one second.
Oh, okay, sir. All right.
All right. Let's go to Dinesh in New York. Dinesh.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
I'm calling about an immigration service. My cousin is in New York, and he come here with a visitor visa, and he overstay his visa. But his mom in here with a permanent green card holder. Can't he file for him?
The mom's a permanent green card holder since 2000. So what's the question?
Can the mom file for him?
Yes, absolutely. Why not? As long as he's single, absolutely.
Yeah, he's single and he's 20 years old.
Yes, he should be doing it immediately. Hold on one second. We can help. Let's go to Rose in Tampa, Florida. Rose.
Yes, hi. I just wanted to find out how did the process work for sister to brother. I'm a United States citizen, and I want to file for my brother.
All right, so you would file an I-130 visa petition. In the I-130 visa petition, you have to show you share the same parents. So how do you show you share the same parents? You have your birth certificate and your brother's birth certificate, and you show you both, the mother and the father, hopefully are the same, or at least you share at least the mother on the same birth certificates, and proof that you're a citizen, and you file it.
Okay, even if I am on disability, I can file for him?
Even if you're on disability, you can file for him, absolutely.
And how long a process does it take? How long will it take?
It's right now 10 years, but if you don't do it now, I can guarantee you that when they do change the immigration laws, you'll never be able to do it again. So do it right now.
It take 10 years for him to get a work visa, or would it take 10 years for the papers? Would he be able to get a visa to work?
No, he won't be able to come here for about 10 to 12 years. That's the wait right now for a green card.
But what if he's already in a country?
Well, then, if he's overstayed his time, he's going to wait 10 to 12 years, and we'll see what the laws are in 10 to 12 years. But do something. It's better than doing nothing. Maybe he should come to see us, and maybe there's other options. I don't know. You know, a lot of times people say, I want to file for my brother and sister. And then I say, okay, it takes 10 to 12 years. And they say, oh, too long. I'm not going to do anything. Mm-hmm. But really the question is going to be, well, what can I do to get my brother's green card as fast as I can? That should be really the question. And we would need a consultation. We would need a consultation for that. So hold on one second, okay? Let's go to Cayenne in Baltimore, Maryland. Cayenne.
Hello, hi, Brad.
You.
Hello?
Yes, how are you?
Oh, hi, Brad. Asking a question for my friend. Okay, so she's trying to file for her green card through her husband. She wanted to do the package. She did her medical and everything, but she doesn't have her husband W-2S, the tax paper. My question is it okay for her to send off what she has?
Why doesn't she have the tax paper?
Okay, so her husband said he has to go to the place where he filed, where they do the tax. and get the paperwork from there. The only thing the husband did give to her, it was a 2017 tax paper, but then she's saying that she need more, and the husband doesn't have the rest of papers. He has to go to the tax station and get it.
Well, what they should do is if the husband worked and didn't pay taxes, he's got to pay his taxes. Period.
He
and if
works
he can't
and
afford
he pays tax.
Well, I'm sorry?
He works and he pays tax, yeah.
So why are you saying they don't have a tax return? The husband's going and not. I don't understand the question then.
The husband gave her 2017 tax paper, right? And then someone told her that she need all W-2S paper. Then the husband said maybe he can't find it, so maybe he has to go to the place where they do taxes.
Okay, so he lost it then. I misunderstood. You could always request.
He can't find it, so.
Okay, fine. You could always request a replacement from the IRS.
Right, so that's what the husband is saying. Maybe he has to go to the place and get it. So she's saying, no, if she could send off whatever she have now, and would that make her lose time?
Will make her lose time. Do everything perfect the first time. And you can go to the IRS and ask for transcripts and copies of things, and it'll take a few days, and they'll mail it to you. It's not a forever.
Okay, right. So, because if she did it the way now, she might lose time of getting her work permit, right?
When you file with immigration, you file everything 100% correct. You don't file in piecemeal, because if you file in piecemeal, you're going to really screw your case up.
Oh, I see. I got you. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I'm sorry I didn't misunderstood it first. All right. So we're done with our telephone calls. We're going to go back to Belgium Kim. Hopefully Belgium Kim has some. How are you, Belgium Kim?
Hey. I'm doing great. We got tons of questions.
All right. So this is where are we at with sharing, by the way?
You know, Groundhog Sam just updated us. We're at 238 shares.
All right. We're getting there, maybe. We'll see what happens.
We're plowing through today. Yeah.
We're plowing through.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Absolutely.
Okay. This is a very serious show we're having today. We're just, I went right into immigration.
Listen, I'm done with the hanky-panky, Brad. I want to see
no
those
more
shares.
That's correct. You know what? I said yesterday I was twerking. This is not the twerking show. This is We Help People show.
Yeah, but
I don't know what Monday will be. Monday we may change our mind.
I was going to say.
But today.
And trust me when I tell you that your twerking helped people. It helped countless people.
Right. With their emotion. Right. You know what? A good laugh makes you always feel better.
Exactly. Right. You saved lives with laughter yesterday.
That's right. All right. Very good. All right. So we're going to do something. Why don't you tell everyone, please share one last time, and then we're going to go right into something we call social media check-in.
Okay.
Let's do sharing.
Okay, so family, it's so easy to click that button. You just click the share button. It's got a little arrow next to it. You can share it to groups. You can share it to friends. You can share it to your own timeline. You just write a little message and let them know why you're sharing it with them. Hey, I love this show. And you can use it for every single share. Everyone will know. You'll get back in touch with somebody you've lost touch with. It'll be the perfect reason to share this show.
Sounds like a good idea. You know what? Before we get into social media check-in, our Miami correspondent Anna Ascona.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the pizza delivery man who got arrested delivering the pizza to the Brooklyn Army base?
Yeah, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think I remember this.
Yeah. So she has an installment that we like to call here. That just doesn't make any sense. And our Miami field correspondent, Anna Ascona, she has a very strong opinion about the pizza delivery man recently arrested by ICE after he delivered food to a military base in Brooklyn. So let's see what Anna has to say, and then we'll come back in about a minute for social media check-in.
Hey friends from the Brad Show Live, I'm Anna Ascona. Today we're going to speak about a man who was detained after delivering pizza to a military base. Pablo Villavicencio was delivering pizza to the Fort Hamilton base in Brooklyn, and after showing his state ID, he was brought in for a background check, which later led to the military police calling ICE on him. What kind of ish is that? All this just because he was delivering food. pizza. He was feeding you guys. Like, come on, why would they call ICE on him? He was just doing his job, delivering your pizza. Did you really have to call ICE on him and run an investigation? Not necessary. That just doesn't make any sense. This sounds like a possible setup. The reason why I feel like this was a setup is because Pablo had been delivering pizza to this base many times, and now all of a sudden they want to run a background check, so clearly they were already keeping an eye on him. Plus, is he not supposed to deliver to a military base just because he's undocumented? Is he supposed to fear deportation while he's doing his job? He's not delivering drugs, he's delivering food, guys. So therefore, this is not a crime, and it should not have been taken to the extreme. He's just trying to provide for his family. He has 2 kids and a wife that he takes care of. Like, come on, guys. Really? Do you guys really think it's fair that this man might be getting separated from his family just because he was delivering pizza? Like, the key thing is he was delivering pizza. Nothing else but pizza. He might as well just left them hungry, had them figure out their own way to get their own pizza, if that was the case. Anyways, what's next? You're gonna go hunt down the 7-Eleven guy, the guy at the gas station, regular bystander walking around? Like, come on, guys. If they're not doing anything wrong, leave them alone. This is just not fair, and you're intimidating all these people, and some of these people don't even know what to do because they don't know their rights. A lot of them don't even know what they're allowed to say no to. Anyways, that just doesn't make any sense. Leave your comments below on what you think about this man possibly getting deported for delivering pizza. Peace.
So here's the deal with Pablo that Anna was talking about.
Yeah.
So it was late May. He was a delivery man. His name is Pablo, if I pronounce his name right, Villavicencio Calderon. He's 35 years old.
Okay.
He was arrested by Immigration Customs Enforcement at the Army base in Brooklyn while working for a brick oven pizza restaurant in Queens. So he's from Ecuador. He was the pizza delivery man. He has no criminal record, but was granted a voluntary departure order from the immigration judge in 2010. He didn't leave. Now, the voluntary departure automatically turns into an order of deportation if you don't leave. He was obviously picked up by immigration somewhere, even though he didn't have any criminal record, just for being here illegally. And the government said, okay, if you promise to leave, we won't order you deported. He said, I promise, I swear, pinky swear.
Cross my heart.
And to die, and then he didn't leave. So that's why he was picked up, because he reneged on his promise, so it went into an order of deportation. But that's not, they would never have found him unless the Army base called immigration on him.
Right.
So his wife, this is the bad part, his wife's a naturalized citizen from Colombia. Okay, so he could have figured out how to get his green card. I'm not sure why he didn't. And they lived in Long Island. They have 2 daughters who are also U.S. citizens, aged 3 and 4. And apparently his wife was in the process of doing something to apply for Pablo's green card. So they were trying some process to do it. So the military police officer at the gate, who was, collecting the pizzas for the Army, I guess you would deliver it to the guy at the gate, and then, guy lets you in or doesn't let you in with your pizzas. Oh, this guy at the gate, the military police officer, did a background check because Villavicencio didn't have his driver's license on him that day, and found the open order of deportation from 2010. That's how he was arrested.
Wow.
So on June 9th, he had some pro bono lawyers, and on June 9th, the court order temporarily halted Villavicencio's deportation to Ecuador, giving his allies, including New York Governor Andrew M. Cuomo, who has taken up at least another month to try to free him from federal custody. So right now, he has a stay of deportation. We'll see how it goes for him.
Oh, wow. But Anna's absolutely right. That definitely sounds like something went awry, whether they knew about it. It feels really weird that the guy is there to deliver pizzas. He's on and off the base in a matter of minutes, and they call ICE on him.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see what happens with that. I just wanted to give everybody an update on the guy. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he unfortunately for many, they run into a similar situation and don't get the same publicity that this guy got.
Yeah.
And now he has, Governor Cuomo taking up his cause, so I'm sure it'll work out for him. He's going to sit in jail for a little bit, but a lot of times this happens to a lot of people, and they don't get the publicity, and they do get separated, they do get deported, and that's really, what ends up being very sad. Absolutely. So as it is, we have to get into something called social media check-in. So we, the more social media check-in. There we go. And what I was going to say, was that take advantage of me doing this. Take advantage of the Bradshaw Live doing this. there's so much good information, such helpful information we can give people to make their lives better, so they don't end up in situations like this guy who's just, poor guy delivering pizza and now ends up in deportation.
Right.
All right.
And when you hear, and you answer those questions all the time of, you guys have done this wrong and now you've delayed your case, for this exact reason is why you cannot afford to have your case delayed. You don't know what's going to happen in that time that you're getting filed for, and you don't have a single day to spare in this climate. And you're absolutely right.
That is correct. All right, so let's get to our social media check.
Okay, our first question is from Ms. Lynn, and Ms. Lynn says, my sister came here on a visa and she overstayed. What should she now do to get straight in the United States?
Call Brad Bernstein, 1-800-529-5465. Next.
Dinesh says, my cousin came to New York with a visitor's visa. He's overstayed that visitor's visa. Could he adjust it now?
You don't adjust it. You just don't wake up one morning and say, I want to adjust my status. You need a basis to do it. So if you don't have a basis to do it, you just can't adjust because you feel like it. That's why you come to a good immigration attorney who can suggest to you different ways in which you can be helped.
Michelle Castell says, if you're married to a green card holder for over a year, could you get your social security number and become a green card holder as well?
At some point in the future, yes, but it's not going to happen overnight. He has to first file an I-130 visa petition for you, and it's a couple-year wait, but eventually you'll get through.
Chin Carter is asking for a friend. She says, my friend is trying to get her green card through her husband. Is it okay for her to send in her paperwork without her husband's W-2 and then send that later on, or would that make her
I think she actually called. We want to, my answer to all of those questions is the same, which is you want to submit everything 100%. Don't submit piecemeal because it's going to delay your case.
Carissa said, I saw an article on your page about Marco Chavez's situation and was wondering about being grandfathered in. If my grandmother filed an I-130 for my mother and it was approved before 2000, could my mother turn around and then file for me?
Yes, and I already spoke to her on the phone too. Everyone who calls on the phone also leaves their questions these days, Kim. They're getting their questions in both ways. Yes, she's grandfathered in. She would be able to pay a penalty fee and get a green card here.
And I read them and they sound familiar, but I'm just so scared.
You're reading them as they go along, right?
Right, and I'm so scared of missing somebody's question, and then you get the angry comments. You didn't ask my question, Kim.
Right, exactly, right. I understand.
Leah Miller said, what's the time frame right now from the time of submission of an I-765 to actually having the green card in your hand?
Well, it used to be 7 months, then it creeped up to 9 to 10 months. Government websites are saying 12 to 24 months, but in my office, at least, I can tell you that we're at about 10 months start to finish.
We've got a question from Michael who said, I just received my work permit, which I waited 5 months for. How long from now can I expect the interview for my adjustment of status for my green card?
Another 5-6 months.
Tony Vidal says, if Congress eliminates brother petitioning, sibling petitions, what will happen to us that have already submitted that I-130?
Very good question. I don't have an answer for you, but the government did take your money. They did say they were going to give you a benefit. And if they don't, you don't know what the final legislation is going to be. The final legislation may be that those already in the system may get through. It may not. They may say nobody gets through. And if they say nobody gets through, I would suggest or I would strongly suggest that there'll be a lot of litigation over that government can't accept money from a U.S. citizen, say we're going to give this U.S. citizen a benefit, which is the benefit is to petition my brother, and then years later say, sorry, we're taking that benefit away, but we're still keeping your money.
So that would, I'm assuming, if that were to happen, that would run into some major legal challenges then.
Correct. At least the ones that are already in the system and approved.
Gunny wants to know, if someone had a green card and went back to their country, never went back to the U.S. for over 3 years, can they just come right back to the U.S. without a problem if their green card hasn't expired yet?
I love how you're doing. Can they just come back here with your arm? Can they just...
swoop on back in through,
swoop on back?
Come on.
Yeah, no. Nope, they cannot. They abandoned their permanent residence in the United States. So once you stay out of the country for more than 6 months at a time, or 6 months or longer, as a permanent resident of the United States, you potentially abandoned your permanent residence. In this particular case, it's over a year. In fact, it's 3 years. So they would have to go to the U.S. Embassy and do one of two things. If they just want to visit, they can turn in their green card and get a visitor's visa. You can always do that and say, I had a green card and I never used it, but I would like to go visit, and they'll give you a visitor's visa. Or if you want to try to maintain your green card, you would apply for something called an SB1 visa, where you would have to show the U.S. Embassy that you really didn't intend to abandon your permanent residence and you have lots of ties to the United States that shows that you still wanted to maintain your permanent residence, home, family, assets, whatever you may have.
Faith Substance wants to know, my daughter burned her face in a community college welding shop. Could I sue them? She's only 15 years old, and I feel like she was not properly supervised. What are my
Absolutely. You should absolutely. If this happens in New York, get her telephone number. We want to speak to her right after the show.
Absolutely. Donette said, Brad, how long after mailing off the adjustment of status application is it going to take for USCIS to respond?
Probably 2 to 3 weeks to get a receipt notice. Another 2 or 3 weeks for your biometrics.
Judith Godfavor asked a question, and I'm going to need to do a little bit of Facebook to normal translation. However, the question is, at what year can you be grandfather? I think the actual question is, at what year can you be grandfathered in under that previous filing that you were talking about?
Well, there's 2 dates. There's one which is April 30th, 2001, and there's one that's January 14th, 1998. What the law says is if you had anything in the system filed before January 14th, 1998 that was approvable, you're grandfathered in. Now, it could have been you as the direct beneficiary, or it could have been your parents as direct beneficiaries, and you were under the age of 21. What the law says is between January 14th, 1998 and April 30th, 2001, if you had anything filed prior to April 30th, 2001, and you were physically present December 21st, 2000, that also grandfathers you in. So there's a physical presence requirement for the cases that were filed between January 14th, 1998 and April 30th, 2001. There is no physical presence requirement for the cases that were filed prior to January 14th, 1998.
And I think that's all we got for right now.
Okay. So Belgium Kim, maybe you want to introduce this. I know you went out on the streets recently, or a while back.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you were asking American citizens, this is when, Donald Trump was bashing, he still is, bashing immigrants, saying immigrants don't do nothing for us.
Right.
But you were asking U.S. citizens, do you realize that all these important things that were invented, that we use and take for granted every day, was actually by a U.S. citizen, right, or an immigrant,
right,
who ultimately became.
Exactly. They ended up having to guess whether it was by an American-born citizen or was it created by an immigrant. And it was the answers were shocking. Even when people knew who the inventor of something was, they may not necessarily get the answer right.
Watch.
Hey, Brad Squad. Today, we're going to be playing, was it invented by an American-born citizen or by an immigrant? We asked a bunch of New Yorkers on the street. Let's see how they did. You watch a lot of YouTube?
Yes, I do. I watch a lot of YouTube. A lot of YouTube.
Who do you have to thank for it?
I definitely would like to thank an immigrant for YouTube.
I believe that was a U.S. citizen.
I'm going to say an American. I feel like I should say American this time, so let's try that.
I would say YouTube, probably U.S. citizens.
Okay. It was actually...
It was 2 guys.
It was 3.
Oh, 3 guys. Yeah, it was 3 guys, actually. So now it's kind of confusing. So was this a mix of immigrant and American?
You can actually thank 2 immigrants and an American for those hours you've spent watching cat videos and David Hasselhoff clips. You can thank German immigrant Jawed Karim, Taiwanese immigrant Steve Che, and American Chad Hurley. Great sport of basketball. Invented by an American or by an immigrant?
I think basketball was invented by an American.
I'm gonna go with an immigrant for basketball.
American. I'm gonna go American. You know what? Can I change my answer?
Yes.
immigrant. I'm immigrant because I'm feeling an immigrant vibe. They just bring everything.
I think a U.S. citizen invented basketball.
I say it was invented by an American. Is it a trap? I think it's an American. Yeah, American.
If you live and breathe basketball and you can't get enough of March Madness, you can thank Canadian immigrant James Naismith. The radio.
I'm gonna go with U.S. citizen for first radio broadcast.
To actually broadcast voiceover, were they an American or an immigrant?
I'm gonna say immigrant.
I think that the radio was made by an immigrant.
Ding, ding, ding! Okay, Brad Squad, all of you radio listeners out there can actually thank Swedish immigrant Ernst Alexandersson and Canadian immigrant Reginald Fessenden to be the very first people who broadcast human voices over the radio waves in 1906. Telephones. Were they invented by an American or an immigrant?
I think the telephone is invented by an immigrant.
The very first telephone. Extra points if you know his name.
I should know this. Okay, well, I don't know his name.
Okay, that's okay.
And I'm gonna say he was American.
I think I read that somewhere.
I believe that was a U.S. citizen.
Do you know what the name of that U.S. citizen, allegedly?
It was with it. I think it started with a T, right?
No.
Alexander Graham Bell, wasn't he American?
I don't know, was he?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, a lot of people know that Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, but what most people don't know is that he was born in Scotland. Scottish immigrant Alexander Graham Bell. Do you think the hearing aid was invented by a U.S. citizen or an immigrant?
I would say a hearing aid was probably invented by an immigrant.
I think it was invented by a U.S. citizen.
I think it was invented by an immigrant. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I think the hearing aid was invented by an American. I feel like I've heard that it was made by an American somewhere. So I'm just gonna, throw it out there, American.
I would go with immigrant.
This invaluable device for people who have hearing loss was actually invented by Reese Miller Hutchinson, an American from Alabama. Who do you think invented the swivel chair? Was it a U.S. citizen or was it an immigrant?
Swivel chair. I'm gonna have to say immigrant.
Immigrant?
Swivel chair.
I don't know what that is.
Like a desk chair, like any chair that swivels.
I think it was by a U.S. citizen. An immigrant.
I'm gonna say an immigrant.
I think it was invented by an immigrant.
He wasn't just the father of democracy and the founding father of the United States. American Thomas Jefferson invented the swivel chair. And there you have it, Brad Squad. Some of these amazing inventions were made by U.S.-born inventors, while others by immigrants. You never know, but it's safe to say that America wouldn't be the land that it is today without the help of immigrants. Until next time, Brad Squad.
All right, Kim, putting you out on the street. You love those segments, right?
I love doing that, Brad. Literally every single one we've done, people crack me up. The things that people are willing to say.
All right, so I don't think we're going to make it to 700 today, but hopefully we'll make it unless they come to a strong push at the end.
We're definitely going to make it to 300, but 700 seems to be a bit of a stretch today.
Yeah, we're going to try Monday. I think if everybody starts getting into the mode for Monday, it could happen.
Yeah,
if Monday,
if they're
hyping. Monday, they're hyping, right? You know, Friday, everyone's a little, chillaxing for the weekend.
Right.
But I think Monday, if everybody, I remember Lisa Bling Rose, she got in, when remember when we were dual streaming at Sparbirds, and she was hyped up to share from the moment.
She was doing her stretches and.
Yeah. We need to get people hyped up to share ahead of time. Maybe Belgium Kim, what you can do is get in, and those who want to join the Brad Squad group, you can join that group, and it's basically a group for anybody who likes to comment on our show and like to make friends with some really nice and cool people. Maybe on Monday you can get into that group and get everybody revved up to share.
Ooh,
that would be
I'm going to do that before the show. I'll be like the Brad Show Live hype man.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to Jay in Chicago. Jay.
Yes, how are you, sir? Is this live?
How you doing? How are you?
Good, sir. Good.
Well, I see I see your thing on Facebook, and there's a lot of feedback. So I was like, man, let me call you guys up. I got some question. Okay, we got our parents. Okay, my wife's parents. All kids now is all citizen. So we've been trying to fix the paper for the past 3 years, and we spent almost $15,000.
You spent 18,000. One second. You spent 18 trying to get your mom here. Who are you trying to get here?
No, they already here.
Okay. So
Yes,
so how old are they? They're adults?
They're 66 years old.
Okay. So who needs the green card? The kids or the mom? That's what I'm confused about.
The parents. We're petitioning the parents.
Okay. Are the kids citizens?
Yes, all 3 kids are citizens.
And how did the parents come to America?
They came over here, I think, crossing Mexico border.
That's why, because they entered without inspection. I understand why.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and then...
Right, so that's the problem. All right, so what have you done so far?
What we have done so far, we went to the lawyer, and they said that we could pay this, so they could, we're going to pay the penalties. So we pay all these penalties that's supposed to be done. And then they ended
why did he say, okay, so we're talking, we've had a lot of questions about that today, 245I being grandfathered in. Why did they say that your mom, your parents, or this is your wife's parents, why did they say that they were grandfathered in?
Grandfathered in?
Yeah, to pay the penalty fee. Why did the lawyers say they could pay the penalty fee?
Oh, the penalty? Because they said so they could fix it. Because we waited for that.
Okay, so let me explain something to you. In order to pay a penalty fee to adjust your status here, under 245I, in other words, what the law says is, let me take you a step back. What the law says is that if you're going to be sponsored by your U.S. citizen son or daughter who's over 21, and you want to adjust your status here in the United States of America, you need to have a legal entry, which they don't have because they entered without inspection.
Okay.
Or if you had something filed in the system before April 30th, 2001, and you can prove it, you can pay the penalty fee. So did your in-laws ever file anything with immigration?
They never did.
Okay. How long have they been here in the United States?
They've been here for almost like 25 years, and ever since they come, they've been paying their taxes.
But they never applied for a green card ever in the 25 years.
They never did. They never did because they don't know nobody until now.
Are any of the children in the military or former military?
No, sir.
Okay. Do your in-laws have their parents here in America?
No, sir.
Did their parents ever try to get? Did the grandparents ever try to get a green card ever in the United States?
No, sir.
Okay. So right now, I don't want to pour salt on a wound, but it sounds like you guys got ripped off because there is no penalty fee to pay. They can't adjust their status here. And if they go home,
they have to go home.
No, if they go home, they will never come back. Don't do that. Don't do that. Right now, there's no option for them. Right now, there's no option for them. But at the bare minimum, have a consultation with me. I know you spent a lot of money. It's not a lot more. And let's double and triple check everything I'm telling you before I tell you this. Okay, let's have a private one-on-one consultation. Hold on. All right. So with that said, we had talked a while back with one of our Sparm Bernstein family and matrimonial law attorneys, Megan Buckwalter. She had spoken to me about physical custody and what people need to do to understand when navigating child custody in a divorce. Let's watch. When you're getting divorced, people don't realize that there's two different types of custody. There's physical custody, and then there's legal custody. And those two different custodies give you different types of rights and different responsibilities in your child's life, and also gives you different types of legal ramifications in your divorce proceedings or your family court proceedings. It even gives you different ramifications when it comes to immigration and other areas of law. For example, when you want to make a child a derivative citizen, you need to show that you are living in the physical custody with your child and you have legal custody. Those are two different concepts. So with us today is Megan Buckwalter. She's a fabulous matrimonial and divorce attorney here in New York and Connecticut. She is a super lawyer, and she is here to break down everything you need to know about the differences in custody, especially the differences between physical custody and legal custody. So Megan, how are you?
I'm good, Brad. How are you?
Great, great. So let's talk physical custody and legal custody. What's the difference?
Absolutely. Physical custody is who has the child living with them more than 50% of the time. So the parties can have joint physical custody, but that's not very common because it takes a lot of cooperation between the parents, and it also generally requires that the parents live very close to one another. So usually one parent has sole physical custody. And if they have sole physical custody, that means that the child is with them more than 50% of the time.
Even if they have visitation rights or go to live with the other parent for the weekends?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can have sole physical custody to, say, the father, and then the mother would have visitation. She could have every weekend, every other weekend. There's all different types of arrangements that can be made, but whoever has the child 51% of the time, say, is the person that has sole physical custody.
So now what is the difference between that and legal custody?
Sure. Legal custody is completely different. Legal custody has to do with who has the legal authority to make major decisions for the child. So that usually has to do with education, religion, and medical decisions. The parties can have joint legal custody, but they have to agree to that. The courts would never force two parents who don't get along to have joint legal custody.
So you could have joint legal custody, you could have, but only one person would have physical custody. There's no such thing as joint physical custody unless the parents, I guess, are living together in the same household.
No, you could have joint physical custody. It's just it's much less common. So if they truly split the time 50-50, it does happen here and there. It means that, each week is split. Sometimes it's a 3-4-4-3 schedule where you're rotating days. It just takes so much cooperation and coordination between the parents that it's usually not in the child's best interest for the parents to have joint physical custody.
Now, just in immigration, I was just saying before you came on, that's very important. And I mean, this is not only important in a matrimonial situation, it's not only important in your life situation with your child, it's also important in other areas of law, what happens in family court. For example, in immigration law, to derive citizenship through a U.S. citizen parent, you have to prove physical and legal custody. And those are two different things. So physical custody, you got to prove you live with the parent who's the citizen, if you're under 18, more than 50% of the time. And also that parent has legal custody, something signed by a judge.
Right. Yeah, it's very important. It's important, too, that you know what you need if you're also going to be pursuing an immigration matter, because the orders need to be very explicit that you get out of family court. So that's why it's helpful to come to a firm like ours where you have that cross between immigration department and the family law department, where we can sort of coordinate to make sure any orders you get out of family court are going to also help you in your immigration matter.
Correct. So now how do they determine, let's say somebody goes into court, okay, and both parents want physical custody. It happens a lot. Both parents want legal custody. They're at each other, fighting with each other. How do they determine? How's the court determine? How do you as an attorney try to convince a court to give your client the physical custody, to give your client the legal custody?
Absolutely. So, the way it's determined generally, if we're not settling between the parties, is we have a trial. And the legal standard that the courts look at in family court is the best interest of the child. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. Some of the factors are who has historically been the primary caretaker of the child, maintaining stability for the child, if they have other siblings, where do the siblings live, any history of domestic violence or alcohol or drug abuse, any ACS cases. There's a lot of factors that the court can look at.
So you have to basically, in all of those factors, I guess it boils down to who's going to be the better parent.
Correct.
Right?
It all comes down, it comes down to what the court calls the best interest of the child, and that really is who's going to promote the best interest of that child, so who will be a better parent and who will foster a relationship with the other parent best.
So I'm sure you've had many situations where you had to go in and fight for both the legal custody and physical custody of one parent over another parent who also wanted the legal and physical custody. Tell us about some of the stories that you've had or some of the issues that you've seen in court and how hopefully it came out successful for your client.
Sure. It's funny. We had a client come in recently who actually came in for a child support issue. And in discussing the time he spent with his child and the sort of schedule he had, I realized that in reality, despite the fact that he was paying child support to the mother, he really was the de facto custodial parent. He had the child more than 50% of the time and should not have been paying child support. Once I spoke with him about this, he realized that he did want to fight for custody. He basically already had it in fact, so why not have the legal document to support that? And we had to go to court and prove that he is the better parent suited to have sole physical custody.
Why was he the better parent? Just because just because he physically had the kid more, or we had to show more than that?
More than that, we showed that he was the parent who brought her to school, who picked her up from school, who coordinated homework, who did play dates and extracurricular activities. He took her to the doctor's appointments. He basically made sure everything that she needed was met, and she basically was sleeping at mom's house and sometimes having some weekend visitation with mom. But he really was the one that coordinated her day-to-day activities and made sure that she was a successful little girl in school.
So not only was he dad, but he apparently was Mr. Mom as well. And by the way, in this day and age, it's not so simple that the mother always gets the child anymore. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. The gender of the parent really doesn't come into play. It's just which parent is going to better foster the child's best interest. And here it's funny because this client really didn't know that he was the custodial parent. I mean, he was paying child support for a child that he was not only financially taken care of, but was taken care of on a day-to-day basis. So that's why it's important to come in and speak with lawyers, because he didn't come in for custody in any way, and we ended up having a custody trial for him, and he won physical and legal custody of his daughter.
Well, that's a great job, and I'm glad you were able to point that out. Megan Buckwalter, fantastic matrimonial attorney here at Spar & Bernstein. Thank you for joining us here on our show. I really appreciate it. For anybody who needs to reach Megan for both New York and Connecticut matrimonial issues, divorce issues, child support, visitation, paternity, anything to do with family court, Megan should be your attorney. She's fabulous. Give her a call right now at 1-800-529-5465. All right, so that was Megan. And we have Jonas on the line. But before we have Jonas, can you let everybody know how they can follow us, reach us, and everything else?
Absolutely. So they can, our main spot, obviously, is Bradshaw Live on Facebook. Like and follow, and make sure you click to see us first so that you get notifications every single time we have a live show, so you don't miss any of that good advice. You can also follow us on Instagram at Bradshaw Live. You can also follow us on Twitter, also very easy, at Bradshaw Live. You can even ask us questions on Twitter using at Bradshaw Live or hashtag Bradshaw Live.
Why would they want to follow us on Instagram? Would there be any reason to follow us on Instagram?
How do you feel about
question.
some hot BTS behind the scenes situations, Brad? People get to see the inside of the studio that they don't really get to see on Facebook. People get to see our day-to-day. People get to see Brad, some special exclusive stuff of sometimes maybe Brad in the Hamptons. Maybe they get to see a special making of. Who knows?
Maybe a twerking thing. You never know.
You never know. You never know.
All right, let's go to Jonas in Fort Myers, Florida. Jonas.
Hello.
Hi, Jonas. How are you?
I'm good. Listen, I have my brother. He lives in Haiti, but my mother said apply for the I-130 for him. So I would like to know if he can apply for a student visa.
No.
Well, no.
If the mom filed an I-130, he's not going to get a student visa, unfortunately. I mean, you could try, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Okay,
when did the mom file for him?
This month.
Oh, so it's going to be a while. Yeah, unfortunately, he's going to wait, but he's not going to be able to get a student visa, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So with that being said, we had an opportunity a while back to speak with David Moreno. He had joined me. He's one of our fabulous litigation attorneys, both does civil litigation and criminal defense. In this particular case, it's criminal defense, but he handles lots of personal injury cases for us as well. Very multi-talented, fantastic trial attorney. He joined me recently to discuss how he was able to get a 17-year-old client out of a criminal charge for reckless endangerment that would have literally destroyed his entire life. Let's watch.
So I'm here with David Moreno, criminal defense attorney extraordinaire here at Spar and Bernstein. David, you're looking very spiffy today. Casual Friday, I see.
Thank you, Brad.
You were not in court.
I was in court.
You were
today.
in court, but you were
Took
not in
off
that
the blazer.
But not in that sweater, though.
Yeah, the sweater was here.
Yeah.
It's a little cold today in here.
It is a little chilly in here. You know, it's supposed to be spring, but it hasn't arrived yet. So, any event, David is not here to discuss the weather. He is here to discuss criminal defense. He's a fantastic criminal defense attorney. He has multiple awards, plenty of accolades, and now recently on Avo, people have been giving him 5 stars across the board. Just recently, I came across this review on Avo for David Moreno. It says, when my 17-year-old son got in trouble and was arrested, I experienced a myriad of emotions, including but not limited to fear, anxiety, depression, and even anger. After the first meeting with Mr. Moreno, however, I began to see a glimmer of hope. He acted promptly and gave frequent updates on the case and showed up even when it wasn't absolutely necessary, but simply because he wanted to make sure that nothing went wrong. My son will be going off to college in June without a criminal record, and I really want to thank Mr. David Moreno, a clear example of professionalism and efficiency. His number has a permanent spot in my phone. And that was from I guess a mother of one of your clients who got arrested. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that was just posted on March 19th, just recently. So obviously you gave this parent a huge sense of relief. You know, their teenage son was embarking on young adulthood, and his ability to move forward, to go to college, to make a life and a career for himself was in jeopardy because of an arrest, because of perhaps having a criminal record. What were the facts of this case?
All right, well, what happened in this situation was we had a young high school student whose parents were out of the house, and the car keys were conveniently located in the kitchen. And he decided
Oh boy! Oh
he
boy!
decided
I already see what's going on here.
Yeah, to go.
By the way, he's not the only 17-year-old boy to have done this,
yeah,
right?
I'm sure. I've done it.
Right.
Maybe not even before I was 17. But listen, he it's like a lot of movie scripts. He decided to go for a ride in his parents' car.
He thought this was Risky Business.
Yeah.
That movie, Risky Business.
I remember that movie.
Right.
So he takes the car out. He lives in a city, and he gets about 3 blocks, and the cops put on their lights and sirens. He hasn't done anything wrong yet. He hadn't ran a stop sign.
Did he have a driver's license?
He did not have a driver's license.
Does not have it. So that's the first thing wrong.
First thing wrong.
Okay.
Doesn't have a license, but when the cops put their lights and sirens on, there is no way of knowing that he doesn't have a license. The one thing they do notice is that he does look like a very young man driving a car.
And he was a man of color as well.
Man of color.
Which also makes them just put on the sirens by just habit or stereotyping or racism or whatever you want to call it, right?
Systemic discrimination.
Yes.
Is what I like to use. So they put on the lights and sirens, and our client, I've had extensive discussions with this kid. I actually still speak to him, try to be a mentor to him. He's a really nice kid. He's pursuing an engineering degree right now in college. He's in his first year. At the moment,
so he could have had a driver's license. He was 17. How come he didn't have one? He never just applied for it?
He
was just
went,
lazy
took the road
about
test,
it? Right.
lives in a city,
Right.
takes public transportation to school, knows how to drive, just didn't have a license at the time.
Okay.
All right, so
was he driving erratically? Did he go through a stop sign?
the
What was the
allegation was that he pulled out of a parking spot without signaling.
Okay, and he says that's not true.
He says it's not true.
Right.
So the cops go to pull him over, and his mindset is, whoa, what am I going to do? I'm not scared of the cops. I'm more scared of my parents.
Right.
So at first he's unsure if they're going to pull him over. He starts to drive away. He sees they're not relenting. They're continuing to follow him. He passes 1 block. They're still behind him.
So he's that one like a low-speed chase.
Low-speed chase, right, for now.
Right, he's like doing OJ in New York.
Yeah, well, OJ was really low speed.
Yeah,
with the white
okay, but
Bronco.
he's just pretending that they're not after me.
Correct.
Right.
After 2, 3, 4 blocks, he realizes they're after him.
Right.
What does he do? He now takes a low-speed chase and makes it a high-speed chase.
Oh, God.
And he's driving erratically up and down the streets of the Bronx. for about 25 blocks.
Because he thought his parents were going to kill him.
Correct.
But now his parents are really going to kill him.
Everyone, being an adolescent at some point in their life,
does
knows that feeling.
Right.
Knows that feeling. Like, you can do whatever you want to me, but don't tell my parents.
Right.
That's the rationale he had. So I'm not saying what he was doing was right or wrong, but he evaded the police for about 25 blocks, about 10 minutes or so.
So how did the police actually stop him?
I'm gonna get there.
Okay.
Ran a bunch of red lights, ran through stop signs. I think at one point he drove the wrong way on one way.
I mean, they could say he could have killed somebody. They could have, right?
Correct. He sideswiped one car. It wasn't until he got to a very, very open area.
He saw too many Fast and Furious movies.
He really did.
Yeah.
But being a young minority in the Bronx, he's very aware of the culture and what's going on. So he didn't want to just stop on a random residential street where there's no one around, because he really didn't know what would happen when he stopped.
Right.
Because now his fear of his parents shifted into his fear for his life.
Because he sees what happens in the news and he sees what happens on his block every day.
Correct. So he actually drives to a very congested area where he pulls over in a hotel parking lot. He exits the vehicle. He's got his hands up. He's got his keys in his hand. And the cops come, they tackle him, they punch him, they kick him, they put their feet on his head, they draw their guns on him. There are a bunch of witnesses. They put him under arrest, and they charge him with about 5 misdemeanors and 30 some odd traffic violations.
What was the most serious charges that he was facing?
The most serious charge was a reckless endangerment charge, which basically means that he was driving his car in a manner likely to or possible to cause harm to another motorist or pedestrian.
And he was facing how much time in jail?
He was facing up to a year in jail for each and every count.
So he could have, and it would be consecutive, so it would have been 5 different 1 years, year after year?
It could be.
Not
always, but our client at the time didn't have a record. Most judges in New York County, New York City would not consec a client like that.
Right.
But it is possible.
So I guess he gets arrested now. It's time he has to call mom. You don't know anything about this yet. He calls mom.
She goes to the precinct immediately. At the moment, she was not upset with him. When she was able to see him, he had bruises on his face. He had cuts on his wrist from the handcuffs being too tight. His face was swollen. He had a knot on his head. She was really concerned for his well-being. She immediately did everything that any responsible parent would do. She filed a complaint with the department. She immediately called the lawyer. We got on the case really, really early. I was there at his arraignment. They asked for a bail.
And by the way, the reason why she was able to call David Moreno so quickly was because she already had his telephone number saved in the phone. She knew exactly who to call. God forbid she or anybody else was arrested. She didn't have to start calling her friends saying, gee, I wonder what I should do.
Correct. So I was at his arraignment. The DA's office asked for a ridiculous amount of bail. I obviously made an argument couched in the fact that he was a minor, a high school student. He had school the next day. The charges, to me, were not that serious.
What was the bail that the district attorney was asking for?
They were asking for $10,000 bail.
Okay.
They wanted this young man to remain in jail pending prosecution throughout the case. I was able to convince the judge to ROR him. I pointed out that release him on his own recognizance.
Right, okay.
Pointed out that his family's very interested in his defense. He hired a lawyer. They're here in the courtroom. Mom is sitting right here. I said, Mom, stand up. Mm-hmm. Dad's sitting right here. They assured the court that they'll make sure the 17-year-old son comes back to court and fight, and they promised that they'll fight the charges. And the judge, after making that argument, agreed, and she allowed him to be out pending prosecution.
Now at this point, he gets out of jail. He's facing 5 misdemeanors, 1 year consecutive sentences. He's ready to go off to college. I assume he's never been arrested before. Now all of a sudden, the mother and the parents and the family, they go from, I just want to make sure my kid is okay, to now the anxiety and the fear and I guess an emotional roller coaster. What's now going to happen to my son? Did he just screw up his entire life?
Yeah.
Tell me how that was, because part of being a lawyer is trying to navigate all the emotional up and downs of a case to keep your clients calm, because calm clients are much more able to tell you exactly what happened. They're much better to be able to express themselves, and it allows David or whoever the criminal defense attorney is to best represent them. When clients are freaking out and their emotions are all over the place, it becomes much more difficult to defend a client. because that to me would be the biggest obstacle in this.
Yeah.
Tell me what you did.
Well, emotions were definitely riding high. We had numerous meetings here in the office. Mom was very stressed out. The son, being a teenager, he acted like a cool customer a little bit. But with mom present, but in behind closed doors, he was really stressed out. He was worried about his college applications. He was worried about whether or not he'd go to jail. What I told them is, look, you guys are so stressed out about everything. This is why you came to me. This is why you hired me. Don't stress. Let me stress. I'll deal with it. They were just upset at the level of blatant disregard for our client's safety, the abuse at the hands of the police officers, the added insult of each and every individual ticket they issued him, the fact that the tickets were the basis for the same exact charges, some of the same charges in the criminal complaint.
They didn't need to tackle him. They didn't need to punch him in the face.
No.
They didn't need to draw their guns. They didn't need to put their foot on his face.
Correct.
They did not need to. It was beyond roughing him up. Beat him up. They didn't need to beat him up.
For sure, excessive force.
So let me ask you a question. Okay, so now he did this, and we always talk about, David, there's 3 ways to defend a case. You can say it wasn't me. You can say.
Didn't you have Shaggy on the show once before? When you say it wasn't me,
I did have Shaggy on the show. That is correct.
You guys should put that soundbite there.
Yes. You could say it wasn't me. I didn't do it. I wasn't driving. I was in the trunk. It was a ghost. Okay, but I don't think Casper defense. But I don't think they would buy that one. You could say, well, the law. I didn't do anything wrong. The law's on my side. Or you discovered this by violating my rights. I don't think so. They asked him to pull over. He didn't. He drove away. I think the law is pretty clear. You don't do that. How'd you keep this guy out of jail?
Well, there's also the human defense, right? This client is a client that a lot of people can relate to. Obviously, what he did was dumb. His actions were boneheaded. They were ill-advised. They were irresponsible. You can use a million different adjectives to describe how he acted that day. However, he's a kid, right? And ultimately, no one was hurt. And in defending him, every single thing I did was to highlight that. He's a kid. This is what he's about. These are his grades. These are letters from his teachers. These are letters of support from the community. No one's hurt. He's willing to take responsibility for his actions. Here's community service that I got him to volunteer to do on his own before the court asked him to do. He understands the seriousness of this. Give him a chance. He's going to work his behind off to get this chance, but give him a chance to continue on and be a productive member of society.
And you went to multiple hearings.
Yes.
Okay. Some of the hearings, certainly in the review that was given by this mom, she said that you went on hearings that most of the time attorneys don't appear, or the experienced attorney doesn't appear. They send their maybe an underling. What were some of the hearings that you went to on behalf of your client that the family was surprised to see you there?
This became a little bit of a personal agenda. I don't want to use the word vendetta, obviously, because I have a lot of friends in law enforcement, but I hated the way this client was treated. I despise the fact that they skirted the law and kind of were on both sides of the law in terms of double jeopardy. They were charging him in traffic court and criminal court for a lot of the same conduct, and that didn't sit well with me. So he had, a court date in traffic court where he had to appear to answer to these 30-some odd tickets, and they were asking for over $5,000 in fines. And she didn't retain us for the traffic court case. But I told her, I said, you know what, I'm going to be there because I want to see if this cop shows up. So I went to traffic court in the Bronx, showed up. Everyone was really surprised.
And you argued it out every ticket?
We argued every single ticket. Actually, I brought Jake Hudnett with me.
Right.
Jake and I went up there. We argued every single ticket.
Did the cop show up?
The cop showed up. We cross-examined him, and we ripped him to shreds. We got, I think, 27 of them thrown out. And the judge ruled in their favor on 4 of the tickets.
By the way, that's just as good a job. If anybody's ever been to traffic court, you never get anything thrown out in traffic court.
Not in New York City.
Not in New York City ever. So to get 27, I mean, that shows you what type of attorneys you and Jake are. I mean, to get 27 out of the 30 tickets. Now, don't call us with every traffic ticket, okay? Please don't. Okay? This was a special case,
yes.
But it goes to show what type of attorney.
It was so obnoxious because they issued all of these tickets, and they were all facially insufficient. It just said, ran light or ran stop sign, but it didn't plead with any specificity what corner was he on? What time did he run this light?
Right.
What car was it? It was ridiculous. But the judge, he wanted to make, take some things into judicial notice and make a ruling after the first 3. I said, no, Judge, we're going to go through every single last one of these because this is obnoxious. And this same cop is the same cop they want to use to testify in a criminal case, and I want all of this stuff to be preserved on this record. So we went through every single one, and the judge was a little bit annoyed, but I had to do my job.
Too bad on the judge.
Too bad.
Right. I mean, I don't care about annoyed judges. We care about protecting people's rights.
Absolutely.
So this was before the criminal case was completed.
Correct.
Did this help push the criminal case to completion?
Not per se, in that the DA's office or the judge in criminal court really had no interest in what happened in traffic court. But it didn't hurt. It definitely did not hurt. I didn't go to criminal court with the decision from traffic court, but they were aware of what happened there. I'm sure the cop, in prepping for this case, would have had to disclose this to the prosecutor. Hey, we've been in traffic court already. I don't want to go against this guy. He ripped me to shreds.
Right.
I don't know what he would have said. I wasn't privy to that conversation. But I'd imagine in this situation, would be a discussion a prosecutor would have. Me being a former prosecutor, if I know my cop has testified anywhere else about this case and facts and circumstances, I would ask him, hey, how'd that go? Because it's relevant to how it's probably going to go in criminal court.
And not only that, now the cop has to be very careful on what he says because you have a transcript and anything.
And he was an oath.
Right, and anything that he says that contradicts the prior transcript from being cross-examined on 30 tickets goes to his credibility of whether he's telling the truth. So how did this case end for this kid? I hope on a happy note.
Absolutely. Ended on a beautiful note. We worked out a non-criminal disposition. I think our client took a violation, did some community service. Upon completing community service, the violation was dismissed. He went away to school. He's in college. I think he's completing now his second year of college, and he's doing great.
I have to say, I'm just reading this review again. And by the way, fantastic job. And the mom wrote, in the end, it's a clear example of professionalism and efficiency. And that is exactly what you described here. Professionalism, efficiency, working for your client, caring for your client enough to go into traffic court because you felt he was wronged in so many different ways. So let me ask you a question before we leave. What do you have to say to people who say, oh, I get arrested, I can go to any attorney I want, but whoever shows up in the courtroom, that's the attorney I'm going to go to. I'm going to go to the attorney on the corner. I saw some sign that says criminal defense. Mm-hmm. What do you have to say about that versus working with an attorney like yourself who has extensive experience both as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney? Why is it so important? Why is it so important to have good attorneys?
Like any other relationship, doctor-patient, boyfriend-girlfriend, husband-wife, attorney-client, there needs to be trust, right? You can't just have anybody walk from, inside the courtroom at 10 o'clock at night, shoveling papers, saying, hey, I'm your lawyer. You got to be with someone that you feel confident with, that you trust, that you can reach, that you can actually speak to, that will listen to your side of the story. So, look, I'm not going to disparage any lawyers out there. There are a million great attorneys in this country, but...
And by the way, plenty of lawyers that you can trust.
Correct.
We're not saying we're the only trustworthy attorneys. There's plenty of trustworthy lawyers out there. As bad as lawyers get bad rap, there's plenty of good, trustworthy lawyers.
I'm just trying to get to the clients because we have a lot of clients that come to us that feel, almost trapped sometimes. They pay money to an attorney. They're not really satisfied with the representation, or they have a free attorney and they're not satisfied, but they feel some sort of blind loyalty because they paid a couple of dollars to an attorney or because this attorney was appointed to represent them. You don't have to feel loyalty to any attorney. These cases where you're charged with a crime are all about you, right? You need to hire the attorney that you feel can represent you the best. Whether that's myself, whether that's anybody, you need to make sure you're comfortable and that you can communicate with your attorney and that your attorney, most importantly, cares about you and that the outcome that you want is at the first and foremost of what you need.
And by the way, I just want to remind everybody, even though we are New York attorneys, David handles cases in New Jersey, and he can almost go to almost any federal jurisdiction throughout the United States and get local counsel as well and help you almost in any state as well. But you should give us a call, but only give us a call because of this reason. I don't think anyone watching at this very moment is being arrested, hopefully. okay? But what you should do is call the number right now, and you dial it and you hang up, and now you have that number locked in your phone. So God forbid you have the kid who does something stupid, or you're with somebody who does something dumb, or you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. It happens all of the time. You have good attorneys at your disposal, immediately ready to work with you, to work hard for you, and to defend you and your rights, okay? Like this mom, she had our number saved. If she didn't have our number saved, maybe a different attorney would have showed up to court for that bail hearing and the arraignment. Maybe he would not have gotten out on his own recognizance. Maybe it would have been a $10,000 bail. Maybe they wouldn't be able to pay that $10,000 bail, and now the case goes completely different. Would have went completely different. So that's why you save our telephone number, and you save it for that time when you need it. It is so simple to do. You just dial the number and hang up. And the reason why you dial the number and hang up, you want to make sure that you have the number locked. You hear Fiona say, "Hi, Spar Bernstein, how can I help you?" Otherwise, you may put the number in, and you may put in the wrong number. And then all of a sudden, your son's driving down the street, getting arrested because he did something dumb. Hopefully he didn't. And you're calling the bakery because you got the wrong number. That's why you always dial the number and hang up, and you hear Spar and Bernstein. Do it now, 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465. Obviously, David, prior successful results don't guarantee a similar outcome, but fantastic job.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
All right, so that was David Moreno. Megan Buckwalter in family law, David Moreno, criminal defense. Do you have any social media questions left?
We actually do have one more. We have one from Josie, who said, if your husband filed for you in November of last year and you got your work permit, about how long is it going to take to get the interview?
Get your interview by the end of the summer. If you don't get it by August or September, and 10, 11 months rolls by and you still don't have it, then give us a call.
And that's all we got for social media check-in.
All right, so finally, Belgium Kim, some housekeeping. I want to remind everybody, if you like watching the show, please follow us on Brad Show Live. You got to follow and like us. If you like everybody in the Brad Squad, then you're definitely going to want to join our I can't even talk anymore, our Brad Squad community on our Brad Squad group. And everybody has joined there who likes to make comments and likes each other, and which most people do. And we can communicate with each other 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Please follow us on Brad Show Live for behind the scenes. Please follow us on Twitter so you can leave your questions and drop your questions. Those are going to be answered first at Brad Show Live. And of course, you can also follow me on Instagram at Bernstein_Brad. You can follow Belgium Kim at Travel Queen Kim.
That's right.
On it. And finally, Belgium Kim, we will be back tomorrow at 5. Not tomorrow, it's Saturday. Not Sunday.
Monday.
But Monday.
Monday.
At 5:30. And Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias will be joining us back. He'll be back from his vacation as well. And finally, we have some comments of the day.
We do.
Before I see the comments of the day, I want you to know.
Wow.
I was watching everybody with their comments. They were ripping me apart about the twerking. I saw.
And obviously, so they want to give you some pointers.
I know.
And it's true, but listen, Jella B can't get enough. And as a matter of fact, Jella B Shauna.
All right, she's the comment of the day?
She is one of the comments of the day.
All right, so now, drum roll, please. Comments of the day.
That works. Our first.
Drum roll, please. Comment of the day. There we go.
Our first comment of the day is from Jella B Shauna about Brad's twerking, and she said, "You guys, I am still laughing out loud watching Brad twerking, and I'm not actually watching him twerk, but I can't get the image of Brad twerking out of my head. Everywhere I turn in my room, it's Brad twerking."
Oh my God.
Literally seared into minds all over the world, Brad.
Oh.
What have you done?
Oh my God, what have I done?
We also had a comment from Malia Lobin Martin, who was so moved by the way that you answered questions today. And she said, Brad, you're an angel sent from heaven for all immigrants. God bless you for doing such an awesome job in helping people.
Okay, thank you very much.
And then finally,
there was 3 comments of the.
We're doing 3 because it was very twerk heavy, and I wanted to bring it back and say, listen, yes, he twerks like a god, and it will sear it into your brain.
You know what? Right? And you're, by the way, your favorite line of the whole thing is the first sentence I said, I twerk all day long.
I twerk all day long.
I twerk all day long. Yeah.
Literally, I saved the file. The file name is I twerk all day long.
Twerk all day long.
We're going to get shirts that just say, I twerk all day long, Brad Bernstein. This is never going to end.
Never ends. And finally,
we
got to end the show. Finally, yes.
Right. Reginald Amata said, hi, Brad. The lady I had sent to you got her 10-year green card after her second interview. God and you were on her side because her husband messed up all the damn questions. She said your advice, and the lady that from our office that was sent with her, I'm assuming his attorney, had a great deal to do in her success. Thank you so much, guys.
That's really nice. Thank you very much. It's really nice. Thank you for everybody out there. Thank you. And it's fine. You guys could make fun of me twerking. I would make fun of myself twerking if it wasn't me myself. But everyone have a great weekend. It's supposed to be nice. No, it's not supposed to be so nice here in New York. I heard rain, actually.
Rain tomorrow. Hopefully nice on Sunday.
Yeah. And hopefully wherever you're watching, anywhere in this world, the entire Brad Squad, it's nice where you are. Have a safe, fun weekend. Enjoy. Stay safe. Be happy. Smile. We'll all be back Monday at 5:30. Have a great weekend, guys.
So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein Law Firm, located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAWLINK. 1-800-529-5465.
What are you doing?